So I'm just out for a spin. Actually have my Cardo on playing music. I'm giving that a try. I actually want to talk about the 5 things I don't like about my 2018 Yamaha MT10. To be completely fair and honest, it's very hard to find a few things wrong with this. I can think of 2 things straight off the bat. I would put it down as one of the most perfect bikes for everything: power, performance, looks, you name it. So I'm going to go from 5 to 1, and 5 doesn't necessarily mean it's the worst thing. It's just kind of the one thing that can come into my head at a time. But the number 5 of what really annoys me on this bike is the front brakes. So they're directly from an R1, the standard R1, and they have a Brembo master cylinder, but they suck so bad from factory. If you look up MT10 mods, the first one that always comes up is changing the brakes. So most people always go for a Brembo master cylinder. The main issue with going for the Brembo master cylinder is that you need to buy another like piggyback unit for the cruise control, because the front brake, when you touch the front brake with cruise control on, it knocks it off, but when you switch to the Brembo, it gets rid of that. One of the most popular upgrades for the brakes is Brembo SC front pads. So I recently have put new brake pads in mine. I put EBC HH pads, so that's their like track focused, and not necessarily their race pad, but just a track focused, a sintered pad. So when they're cold they squeak and all that good stuff, but like where my finger is now, that's the brake is on. Like, they're really, really good, and this is my first time with them out proper, and I'm really, really impressed with them. So much more feel, so much more of a bite, and even the stopping power is slightly better on them. So that's what you want, and that's a cheap mod. You know, you're talking €35 a side compared to, you know, your €250 or so Brembo master cylinder, and then the Brembo pads are about €50 a side. So, you know, for the price they're amazing. Obviously the Brembo are going to perform better because they're Brembo, but you know, these work perfectly fine. Like, oh yeah, that's a lot of bite. So yeah, that's number 5, is the brake. Number 4 is the suspension. So the suspension is great. It's great, to be completely fair, it's great. From the factory it is not great, and it's all direct from the R1, the standard R1, and the same with the rear shock, but they are really, really solid. You know, you feel every bump, and I think, you know, obviously the easy solution is just to get your suspension adjusted, which is fine, you can do that, but you know, just from out of the factory, it's really, really bumpy. It's kind of unbearable. Like, there, fucking hell, it's so it's so sore. And again, these all sound like nitpicky, but that's because I can't think of much wrong with this bike, so it has to be nitpick. Also, another solution for literally most of these well, actually the 2 problems already, the easy solution is to go for the SP model, because that has Brembos from factory and Öhlins front and rear. So number 3 on the list, it's going to sound like a stupid one, but to repair one of these is so expensive. So I'm talking about, when I had my accident, I obviously fixed all this out on my own. All these cyclists out just hold me up, so that's fine. I fixed it by myself, you know, my own money, blah blah blah. And yeah, it's a new bike, but fucking hell, they really just overcharge for stupid stuff, and mainly it's plastic. Like, these plastics are so expensive. They make it a very expensive drop. Now obviously it's not as expensive as, you know, your fairings on your like your R1 or whatever, but for like a little intake which is this long is €250, and all it is cheap shit brittle plastic. So yeah, obviously number 3 is just expensive for small little stuff. Maintenance and all is fine, that's kind of regular price for any bike really, but it's just repair of stuff is just so expensive. So number 2, again, very nitpicky, and it's the seat. The seat sucks so bad. The standard seat is rock solid, and you know, you can't really, I can't ride more than like an hour straight and it just starts to get sore on your arse and your lower back. You know, again, simple solution, buy the comfort seat, but the comfort seat is kind of pricey. Like there's literally almost like no cushioning, no padding at all on the stock seat. Obviously there is, but it's just not good in the slightest. But again, these are all nitpicky. I know I've said it for nearly everyone, but they are really fucking nitpicky. And my number one thing about that I really hate about this bike, and it's a proper hate and everyone has this hatred, is the fuel economy. Sucks balls. Now, you're not going to buy this bike for fuel economy, you know, that's a complete given, that's fine. But Jesus Christ, it's so bad. Like, I've already done 122 kilometers and I'm at half a tank, but I know from experience that's more, that should actually be below half a tank. It's a tiny tank, I think it's 17 litres. It's expensive to fill then, because you have 17 litres and you're going to have to keep going every 100. I normally get about 150 to 170 kilometers from a tank, so you know that's quite expensive. And if you're really like hooning it around, you know, you can expect even less. But yeah, the fuel is my main gripe about this bike. I would like to do some like honorable mentions, because they are common complaints people give about this bike, and the main one being the really jerky throttle. So like now I'm in second gear under 3k and it is really jerky. I have a decat obviously on mine, but I don't have a tune. You can kind of, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but just there it's just chugs and pulls, and but once you go kind of above 3 it's perfectly fine. But the main issue with that is first gear, and in mode 1 is snatchy as fuck, so I always stay out of first gear as much as possible. So that means when you're going the speed I'm going now, which might be like your normal kind of town cruising speed, you know, I'm right in that area of jerky throttle. But then again, it's not a massive deal, and if you really want to get it sorted, a power commander or your ECU flash will fix it, will sort it straight away. So another honorable mention is kind of a weird one. I don't know if it's just me, but I'm only going for people that have bigger feet, right? So I know that sounds weird straight away, but if I have my toes on the pegs, so if I have my toes proper on the pegs, which I would on track, now my boot is stuck on my pillion peg. Like, I don't know, you can't even see it, but my boot's actually on the pillion peg and I can't move. That is not a situation you want to be, especially when you go onto the track, or if you're just having a nice fast ride. You know, that's not what you want. So obviously, again, simple solution, remove the pegs. But you know, you have to then buy, well, you don't have to, but you have to buy the pillion delete then, you know, maybe like an R&G kit. So it just adds more little costs on the bike. But it means then, if you're having a pillion on the bike, you have to have your feet flat on the pegs, which I know for me as well and a lot of others, I just have a habit of sticking my toes on the pegs. So I can imagine people with bigger shoe sizes than mine. I think these boots are either a 43 or a 44, so it's like a 9 or a 10, it depends. I think they might be a 10. So if you've anything bigger, you're really going to feel it, and you're really going to catch the back of your boot. Now it might just be these RST boots, but it's caught me out a few times. That's really it, guys. As I said, they were really nitpicky 5 things I dislike about my Yamaha MT10, and then just 2 honorable mentions that they don't really annoy me, but they're just things I'd like to address. But yeah, guys, like, that's the video. Let me know, for anyone that owns an MT10, am I wrong or is there anything I missed? Obviously there is other little bits that I'd add, like the rear brake isn't the best, but that's every bike. The rear brake is not the best. I'll do another video then of my top 5 things I love about this bike, which there is a lot, so that's going to be a hard one to pick. But look, guys, it's a video. Hope all of you enjoyed. Like, comment and subscribe. I'll talk to you on the next video.